Today, we're starting to see important conversations about closing the racial wealth gap. We at Community Housing Development Corporation want to focus on this because, as a Black-led organization in the San Francisco, Oakland Bay Area, it is our moral imperative. It is a necessity for us to assist in providing financial security toward homeownership for Black Americans to become economically healthy. And it is a way to begin dismantling centuries of inequities that were intentionally and systematically created. Our goal is to bring renewed focus on bringing equity to America's racial concern in homeownership. Let's first take a look at how the efforts of Black families to create wealth have been blocked and the systems that have continued to widen the gap. 246 years of chattel slavery, where Blacks were considered property and therefore had no rights to build wealth. This gave us a starting disadvantage of 246 years, which is the beginning of the wealth deficit for Black Americans, followed by congressional mismanagement of the Freedmen's Savings Bank, which was set up to help former slaves save money and show them how to use their money for food, clothing, shelter, and medical care. But although other institutions were governed by an oversight authority, the Freedmen's Savings Bank depositors didn't have the same safeguard, and their funds were mismanaged, causing more than 61,000 former slaves, now depositors, to lose more than $3 million. The violent massacre in Tulsa, Oklahoma's Greenwood District, where a population of more than 10,000 African Americans had created a thriving epicenter of Black businesses and culture, commonly referred to as the Black Wall Street. But neighbors of surrounding communities, many deputized and given weapons by city officials, attacked Black residents and businesses and destroyed more than 35 blocks of this thriving Black community. Others were left homeless, and property damage amounted to $1.5 million in real estate and $750,000 in personal property. Today's equivalent is $32.25 million. Also, specific to building wealth through homeownership, redlining, the systemic denial by federal and local governments or private sectors to allow minorities to take advantage of home loans or to be able to move or live in specific neighborhoods. This history matters because wealth was taken from these communities before they had the opportunity to grow and has negatively impacted wealth transfer through home ownership from generation to generation. You might ask, how large is the gap? It has been reported that the median white household has a net worth of 8 to 10 times that of the median Black household. But if Black families held a share of the national wealth in proportion to their share of the U.S. population, it would amount to $12.68 trillion in household wealth, rather than the actual sum of $2.54 trillion. That's approximately a $10.14 trillion wealth gap. Yes, closing the gap will require that the systemic economic disparities brought about by centuries of discriminatory policies must be addressed through significant structural changes. So we ask that you stand with us to help us close the wealth gap through Black home ownership. The individuals and families we serve deserve our support. Our community deserves our support. And at CHDC, our goal is to help create vibrant communities throughout the Bay Area.